This is Kugan Cassius for Rifle TV in association with Mathews in Marbella. We're at the Emirates tonight, ahead of Arsenal and Monaco. With me, I've got promoter Frank Warren. How are you, Frank?
How are you?
Optimistic tonight?
What about the game? Yeah, they should. I mean, bloody hell, we've got the best draw, didn't we? So I'll be very disappointed if they don't win tonight.
I remember being here with you, obviously, after the Anderlecht game, and they let that 3-goal lead slip. But that's worked in our favour in the end, didn't it?
Well, it did. But hopefully we don't have to do it the hard way.
Absolutely not. Loads been going on, Frank, recently, since I hardly spoke to you a couple of weeks ago, but so much seems to have happened. First of all, Frank, can you just explain to me the situation regarding Billy Joe and the IBF and why Billy Joe decided to pass on that opportunity for that vacant title?
Well, he didn't pass on it. What happened was that an offer was made. First of all, let's get it right. Andy Lee and Billy Joe Saunders is a big fight, and I think I think a West Ham stadium it would fill. We can't get into that type of venue until the end of the football season, which is the end of football season. I think it's the end of May this year, so it's early June. Therefore, they got a fight, and the fight just didn't make sense to do it in a smaller stadium, or sorry, a smaller venue, indoor venue, in say April. So what happened was that we had an approach from Al Heyman to make the Quinlan fight, and that at the end of the day made a lot of sense. The fact that Bill would get some exposure on US TV, and he gets the winner, which makes it a bigger fight. So that's how it's come about. So what's happening now is that Bill's going to have a fight on the undercard, and then the winner of the main event will then fight Bill, and we'll do that in the stadium in the summer.
Yeah, so Frank, I mean, looking at Billy Joe over the last 6 months, obviously there's been different opportunities for him to have taken a world title shot. You as a promoter, what do you look for? The easiest route for him, or the quickest route for him, or the most money for him? Or
his manager, so I've got to look at all those aspects. But most importantly at the fight, for me as a promoter, was to put on the hottest fight there. And the hottest fight was him and Chris Eubanks Jr. For that fight to happen, we had to allow the champion at the time to fight against Andy Lee. And that's what we decided to do. And ultimately, that Bill would fight the winner of that. And Andy come through, done a great job. He's come off of 2 fantastic knockouts, and that's made the fight a bigger fight. But we can't put that in a stadium. You have to go to an indoor arena, when I know that's going to do 30,000 tickets all day long in an arena. So to get that on, we can't got to wait till summer. In the meantime, I don't want to be Bill sitting tight. So we looked at the next best option was, do we go with the Andy Lee fight in a small venue, or do we go for getting exposure on HBO, sorry, not HBO, on NBC, which is what is happening with Al Heyman, and that's the road we've gone down.
Also, you've a commitment, obviously, with this Andy Lee and Peter Quillen fight that Billy Joe will go on to face the winner, and also he's featured on the undercard. Is that a reason why Billy Joe couldn't get involved in the vacant title with the IBF that become available, where Billy Joe was put in with the next in line, Hassan and Dam, I believe? Yeah,
well, that's what happened, and the IBF title fight, I work very closely with the WBO, and we do stuff with other organisations, but that's what we signed up for. We signed up for the WBO. That's what everyone's put their signatures to. So we can't break one contract to go elsewhere. That's really where we're at. Okay,
so I mean, April the 11th, obviously, we're hoping that Andy Lee can come through this fight, obviously, to set himself up, just because we would want Andy Lee to win anyway, but, to set up a huge fight with Saunders in the summer.
Absolutely. And then the winner of that fight, Chris Eubanks Jr., if he comes through, we're shooting off on Saturday. So that's the logic to it, if you understand what I'm saying. And they're all great domestic fights.
Absolutely. Unfortunate circumstances meant that Richard Abril had to pull out of next week's show against Derry Mathews, which is frustrating in a sense, but we've already got a date, April the 18th. And do you think everything should be all right for that?
Yeah, hopefully he says it'll be okay to fight a date, Abril. It's a shame for Derry. I mean, Derry sold nearly £50,000 worth of tickets for that fight, for the show. But we're postponing it, we're pushing it back, and we'll make it on that date. And we'll put a couple other good fights on the card as well. So, we're determined and committed to making it happen, and that's what we're going to do.
What was the situation with Abril? Do you know the actual severity of it?
He picked up something from a mosquito bite or something, and it gave him some, I can't remember the name of it, some fever, which unfortunately caused it to play.
But hopefully, like I said, April the 18th, fingers crossed, Derry will get his shot. Frank, you've got 2 shows at the Echo in 5 weeks. Is that optimistic? Is it to...
Yeah, it probably is optimistic. But what are you going to do? If I say no, then Abril is out of contracts. So we've got to go with it, and we're doing it, and that's really where we're at.
Was there a possibility of moving the March show to April? Did you think about that?
Could have done that, but it's not. That's unfair on the other fighters.
Yeah.
Paul Butler, who I manage and look after, he's my prime concern, and it's all about him getting his chance to make a bit of history and becoming the first fellas to go down a weight and win another world title, and that's where we're at, and he's trained very hard for it, and I'm funking that he brings home the bacon for us on the 6th.
Certainly hope so. This week, risky business at the O2. Tyson Fury, who we've just come from a media workout, was in fine form today. Tyson Fury said today, he's not motivated by Christian Hammer. He wants the big fish. He wants Vladimir Klitschko, and he wants Deontay Wilder. But these talks about this fight are ongoing, and they'll probably be ongoing until one of them is made.
Well, he should be focusing on this fight on Saturday, because this guy is coming to take his place to become the mandatory, because the winner of this will obviously be number 1 and be the mandatory. So if I was him, I would forget about everything else and just focus on the 28th of February and come through that fight. And if he comes through that, the rest of it will fall into place very, very quickly, and we will have a big fight. And if I get my way, we'll bring Klitschko over to the UK.
That would be something.
Well, that's what I've got to do. That's what I'm trying to do.
Chris Eubanks also is the sort of co-feature on the card against the WBA interim champion Dmitry Chudanov, and Chudanov comes here with good pedigree, and he's coming here to win. He's not.
Well, he's no mug. He's not coming here to fall over. His manager Vlad Hurov, he gets involved with some seriously decent fighters out of Russia. They fancy the job big time. Young Christopher had a good performance last time out. Although he got beat by Billy Joe, he's being stepped up again. He's not getting any favours done here. He's going into a tough fight. But if he wants to be in the mix, and if he's as good as what his dad says, then these are the fights he's got to have. I think he's a good young fighter. I think there are a lot of, and he's obviously he's got a lot of things to do to get to himself to the level where you would want him to do. He's like a lot of learning and that, but it's a step up for him. But if he can apply himself and stay focused on what he's good at doing, and I hope they worked on his defence, he can win this fight. And if he does, then we've got a real good mix going on, haven't we, with all these guys. I think young Chris Eubanks is a good quality young fighter, and his big but, he's got to deliver. This is a fight he's got to deliver in. And by the way, I wish that his dad could bury all this rubbish that goes on between you and him, because it's not good for the game, it's not good for our shows. We should all be here working together at publicised shows. And I heard today that there was no interviews, and it's just really, it's really not good for anybody. That needs to be resolved and sorted out. Common sense needs to prevail.
I've had conversations with Eubanks Senior over the last couple of days, and yesterday he was fine with me, etc. And then today, obviously, was at the press conference. It's frustrating from our point of view, because we're going there, filming 3 hours of him at the gym yesterday, 2 hours with him today at the press conference, and then people watching our videos are constantly asking me, why is there no Eubank interview? Now, I've already gone into it, can't keep going on about the same thing, but I was hoping that at an opportunity, if you could have a word, and just put it to bed.
Let's hopefully we can talk either tomorrow or at the weigh-in and get that sorted out, because it doesn't do anybody any favours, and at the end of the day, I don't know what. Do you know what? I don't even know what it's all about, but let's get it sorted.
I don't even know what it's all about myself. A big question from a UK point of view, everyone seems to be asking is, after the announcement of Mayweather Pacquiao, what channel will it be on? How active will BoxNation be in trying to get Mayweather Pacquiao to BoxNation?
We broadcast, I think, for it's been nearly the last 3 years, all of Floyd Mayweather's fights. I think we've done the last 3 or 4 Manny Pacquiao fights. We're certainly not going to be sitting on our backsides. I mean, we obviously want to deliver to our subscribers and to the British public the best fights. That's the biggest fight and the best fight out there for God knows how many years, and we want to be involved in it, and we will be involved in it. No deals have been done, to my knowledge, with anybody yet. It's there. There is a deal to be done, and at the end of the day, you know, I don't think, I'm always nonsense about ITV. There's no ITV involvement. There's
BT Sport possibly.
No, but I think we have a sort of arrangement with BT Sport, as you know, with shows and so forth. I just think it's between Sky and us, and that's what it is.
We await news. Did you watch the boxing that was on Sky and also Channel 5 from the weekend? So let's start with Channel 5. Martin Murray, a very valiant attempt to go 11 rounds.
Performance. Yeah. I feel that the fight could have been stopped a couple of rounds earlier to do him. I don't mean that being disrespectful, because, you know, I thought he was, you know, he showed great courage and so forth. But for me, he's in with, I think, the best fighter, young fighter, and the best fighter in the world at the moment, in my opinion.
Yeah.
I've been singing his praises, the G-Man, for a long, long time. Or Treble G-Man. I think he's a fantastic fighter. I think that it's going to take someone extra special to beat him. And in my opinion, I think he's top of the list.
Certainly.
But the great, you know, Martin to be there. That was a tough fight, and I hope that, you know, recovers, and hopefully we can get him in the mix with some of the other fights that we've got. Absolutely.
Paul Smith also suffered a defeat in Germany. To half over.
Well, I didn't think last time was all the controversy was over the scoring. I don't think it was over the result. I thought he got beat last time, and I think this time round it wasn't ordered by anybody. You know, this talk about the fight was ordered by the WBO. That's not the case. Abraham's people made the match, made the return. They asked for it, they got it, and they did it. And you know, my logic to that was Abraham's wouldn't have been going in again if he didn't fancy the job, you know, to win the fight. And, you know, for me, that's what he did, didn't he? You know, Paul Smith did the best he could do, but unfortunately, it was not to be.
All right. Well, have you got any other little inklings you can let us on to, Frank?
What inklings I've got? I haven't got any inklings I don't think at the moment. We're working on quite a few things, and hopefully in the next week or so, we're going to make some big announcements.
So just the cat, obviously O2 this week, next week Echo Arena, March the 6th, which is a Friday, Mersey Boys, Paul Butler, hoping to become a 2-weight world champion. The week after that, Widnes, which I'll be honest, I've never heard of until he showed announced.
I can show you.
Oval Mackenzie against
Matty
Eskin.
Widnes. You've got to get there, it's the best place.
So that'll take us into March, and then you've got a show at York Hall at the end of March.
And then we'll be announcing that we got April with Derry and Abra, and then we'll be announcing another show in April and main dates.
What's the situation regarding Liam Smith at the moment? We know he's featuring on the March the 6th bill. Will he be also on the April 18th bill?
That I don't know yet. We'll look at that. But he's fighting on as you know, we promote him. He's fighting on the show on the
6th of March.
6th.
Yeah.
And we'll see what happens after that. You know, we're trying to make him a big title fight, but, you know, we've been talking to Bundridge, but unfortunately he's been getting an offer from Cotto. So, you know, whether he's going to fight Cotto or fight Paul Smith for the money that we're offering, Liam Smith, or fight Cotto for the sort of person you get from that, you know, it's a very tough negotiation.
But do you regard Liam Smith as the number one light middleweight in the country now?
Yeah, I do.
Yeah.
And I think that Liam Williams is on his tail. There's some good fights to be made down the road. Of course he is. I mean, I've always said I've always felt that Liam is the best out there. Someone showed me some tweets he's made about loyalty and whatever. You know, our management contracts expired a couple of weeks ago. Well, I never heard anything from him. So, you know, we talked about it. There was talk about renewing it, but he's obviously done something else. And at the end of the day, we promote him. You know, loyalty is a two-way situation, and, you know, for me, I'll always do my best. If I'm promoting somebody or managing them, whatever it is, I'll do my best for him. But it's not You know, we're not magicians. You know, don't get pissed off because Derry Mathews got a title fight. You know, we made Derry Mathews fight because it was there to be made. You know, but bringing a Bundrage in when you're up against someone who's offering serious money for a Cotto or a Tim Bradley fight is very, very difficult. You know, as I say, we're not magicians. And at the end of the day, you know, Derry sold nearly £50,000 worth of tickets for that show.
All right, listen, Frank Warren, thank you very much for talking to Eiffel TV. Let's hope we get a win tonight, take us into the next leg, and we'll see you Saturday night.
Wait, I'll see you when I'm looking at you.
Absolutely. Have a word with Eubanks, Frank. I'm relying on you for this.
Well, you know, at the end of the day, you know I'm going to get the blame for it because that's what happens and that's what we always get. I feel like I'm going to have to get the whole thing out tonight. Get back up, ball sesh.
Are you at the Hammer Theory press conference tomorrow?
Yeah, I'll be there tomorrow, yeah.
All right, lovely.
Yeah, I'll be there tomorrow and I'm looking forward to it. It should be good and I'm looking forward to Saturday night. You know, it's you know, I know you know we're in the business of promoting fights and we call it risky business, but it is a high risk fight. And at the end of the day, you know, Tyson doesn't need to think past Hamer. He needs to focus on that because that stands between him and the opportunity of fighting a world title. That he needs to ensure that his mind is on and his focus is on, and he's got to win it.
I'm sure he is, despite what he says.
I hope so.
Frank Warren, thank you very much.
Cheers, mate.